Thank you very much for coming to the 7th Annual Foundation for Hazlitt Schools Inspiration Awards. I'm Dirk Milliman, your Master of Ceremonies. My job is to get us out on time, whatever that may be. I'd like to make two real quick announcements. The bar will remain open through our intermission, which is listed on your program as our pit stop. And you can see that strategically scheduled just before the Reagan acceptance speech. The second announcement is that the people on the far left and far right are in charge of climate control. The windows next to you can be opened or closed as the heat or cool air rises or lowers in here. So you're in charge. You'll notice the theme for this year's event is driving forces, which I think is very appropriate. I'm in charge with revving it up, which is a motor theme, which I think applies very well to all three of our inductees tonight, whether that's Matt Borland's racing team, or the motor on Gil White's fishing boat, or Bob Regan's Harley. All three are motor-driven, and I think all three have been a driving force for Hazlitt Schools. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the president in her first speech at the Foundation Inspiration Awards, the new president of the Hazlitt Foundation for Schools. Join me in welcoming Kathleen Fox.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you for attending this wonderful and honored event. And it is my great pleasure, first of all, I'd like to introduce some of my fellow board of directors, aka drivers of the driving force. So if you open your brochures and look, as I call your name, could you please stand? Pam Alford, Melinda Barr, Gary Barucki, Linda Headley, Steve Houghton, who I believe Steve is ill this evening, Sue Maloney, Penelope Milliman, Art Nash, Sean O'Brien, Patience Drake Rosenbaum. Tammy is also out ill this evening. Our newest member, Amy Welch, who just joined us last month. So this is her first official event. Carol and John Wallenberg, and they are married. Phil Gardner, Mike Duda, and Sharon Jones. As a mother of 3 Hazlitt students, and as a fellow board member, I can honestly and personally say that these individuals dedicate their time and energy effortlessly, and I am honored to work with them. So thank you again from my bottom of my heart as a mom and as a member. Thank you. My job tonight is to talk a little bit about the foundation. It is our 15th anniversary, so there is one more official member I'd like to introduce. Marilyn Doty Larson is one of the founding members, along with Carol Wallenberg, who is here tonight, who made a special effort just for this one event, and I'd like to recognize her as well. So I think she's way in the back. Oh, and June Hewitt. If it wasn't for your efforts, we wouldn't be here tonight, so thank you very much. So what does the foundation do? The foundation basically provides resources that are not in the Hazlitt budget. We do this by many means. One of them is by general contributions, United Way contributions, contributions from local businesses, seat sponsorship in the high school Performing Arts Center, the endowment funds, and of course my personal favorite, the golf outing. Though I don't play golf, I love to drive the beer cart. So that was a wonderful event, and I thank you. As we continue down what I call the course of the Hazlitt Foundation, I hope that I never have to lower that checkered flag, because that means that our driving forces have ended. So I want us to continue around the track, and with that I'd like to introduce our superintendent, Mike Duda, who will be talking to you about specific examples that the foundation does support. So Mike?
It looks like I got some heckling going on up here. Thank you, Kathleen. On behalf of the Hazlitt Public Schools, let me take this opportunity to thank the foundation for sponsoring this event, as well as congratulate Bob Regan, Gil White, and Matt Borland on their 2004 Inspiration Awards this evening. Over the past 14 years, I've had the good fortune of being part of an organization and a community that values education and puts a premium on their children. My own children continue to benefit from the support of their excellent teachers, support staff, and administrators in a school district that has long established itself as a place where students come first. The Hazlitt Schools has truly earned the reputation of being a place where all students are accepted, and the educational opportunities offer a wide variety of top quality programs. These programs are a direct result of a rock-solid Board of Education that has provided a foundation for this community and their children to receive the best possible education. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our Board of Education members that are present this evening. Trustee Bev Levy, would you please stand? Trustee Scott McIntyre, Trustee Rob Fowler, Secretary Kristen Belzer, and President Mike Thibodeau. I'd also like to introduce two former board members who are part of this foundation that are here this evening, Charlie Brenneman and Kathy Mateo. Would you please stand? How about a hand for these folks? Additionally, our own Hazlitt Foundation has been a great source of pride as a partner with our schools in providing extra opportunity for our children. Just this year alone, the foundation has provided $16,000 in mini grants, $3,000 in special needs grants, another $2,000 for diversity grants, $5,000 toward the proud sponsors, and $30,000 for other special projects, including $5,000 toward the district calendar, all totaling well over $61,000. Thank you, Foundation. This funding is reserved for projects that typically fall outside the normal operating budget of a school system and allows our students to have experiences that would otherwise not be possible. On a personal note, I know all of us are appreciative of the community events that have been organized by the foundation, including the golf outing that Kathleen talked about, and of course this inspiration that allows us to honor and recognize the outstanding individuals who are deserving of this prestigious award. The foundation continues to be a great asset to our Hazlitt Public Schools, and the partnership has increasingly strengthened the quality programs offered to our children. Thank you, foundation members, for your tireless efforts and those of you who support those endeavors. Again, congratulations to Bob, Gil, and Matt, and thank all of you for your continued support of Hazlitt Public Schools.
Thank you, Mike. And I'd just like to say that Mike has had a good first year. This is his first address to the Foundation Inspiration Awards, and I, for one, have watched his career for many years. Not many in the room can say this, but Mike was my high school gym coach. So he's done pretty good since then. And I did make it up that rope. So. The foundation has been awarding Inspiration Awards since 1998. The first meeting was at Walnut Hills. The first two recipients were Al White and Judy Connolly. And Judy Connolly is with us tonight. If she could stand and be recognized. Judy? In the year 2000, Gene Friends and Darrell Brown were recognized as inspirational. If they could also stand, please. And in 2002, Dee Schnarr was recognized. If she could stand, please. And it takes a lot to pull off an evening like this. And if I could have the following Inspiration Committee members stand for just a moment. June Hewitt, Patience Drake Rosenbaum, Penny Milliman, Ann Harkis, Sharon Jones, Brian Town, and Carol Wollenberg. Another great event. Thank you very much. Two more quick introductions. With us this evening, and who will be coming forward later tonight to make a presentation, State Representative Gretchen Whitmer. Gretchen? Thank you. And with us also this evening from Congressman Mike Rogers' office, Margarita Valdez. And without further ado, help me in welcoming June Hewitt.
Well, good evening. For many years now, I have had the great pleasure of chairing the endowment committee of the Hazlitt Foundation, and a little bit later tonight I'm going to talk with you about the endowment fund. So if you have your checkbooks handy, you might want to get those out. However, no, this is not a fundraising event. This is really an event tonight to pay tribute to three extraordinary people. And my job for the next 2 minutes is to explain to you a little bit about the Inspiration Awards. Some of you have been here before and joined us. Others of you are here for the first time. And so I want you to understand that the Inspiration Awards are not just another honors event where worthy folks get a plaque and everyone applauds and then they go home. This is really so much more, and it's important that you know that, because it's our opportunity in this community to raise up the exceptional. And not because they should be honored, and they should, or because they deserve applause, and they do, but it's really about lifting people up in ways that inspire the rest of us and teach the rest of us. And that's why we're here tonight. I need to tell you that for the years that I've done this, and you saw that I stood as a founding member of the foundation. I was only a child, so I hardly remember it, but one of the things that we've really tried to do is to enhance the good work of the school district, and the people that we honor each year are part of that group that enhance the school district. And as we've honored people over these years, I need to tell you that we have never called anyone, or I've never visited anyone who readily agreed to do this. There is no one who ever said, "You finally figured out how good I am." In every case, the recipients of these awards have said, "There are so many other people that you could honor," or "I've just done this, and there are other people who've done so much greater." And that's sort of the nature of people who are honored in the Inspiration Awards. But we identify them, we pay tribute to them again, not just to say thank you, but because they have something to teach the rest of us. And so tonight, in just a few minutes, due to Brian Town's good work, we're going to get to see the kinds of ways in which we should learn from our Inspiration Awards. We begin tonight with Matt Borland, who is an '89 graduate of Hazlitt Schools. And those of you who follow NASCAR, and in the last couple of years there's almost no one who hasn't had to learn about NASCAR as it's grown, you will understand that we really are in the heat of the season, toward the end of the season really, and that Matt isn't with us this evening, but we're going to get to hear about Matt Borland. And I want you to leave here understanding what he teaches us, and that is that what begins in Hazlitt can take you anywhere in the world. That this young man, like a lot of other Hazlitt students, had dreams, and that his dreams carried him to places that most of the rest of us never thought about. And so that's what Matt has to teach us tonight, to dream big, and it reminds the rest of us who are in the schools and in the communities to encourage our children to dream big. We're going to look at the life of Gil White tonight, and what Gil, I hope, reminds us is to put our resources where our values are. Gil has spent his adult life in this community acting on what he believes in: education, our schools, and the environment. And so as we watch his tribute tonight, I would ask you to think about what it is that he needs to inspire us to do. And then finally, Bob Regan. And most of you know Bob, but one of the things of many that Bob teaches us is what happens when you kick apart the confines of a job description, what it means to do more and better and bigger. Bob really teaches us what that plus means in the A+ for Hazlitt Schools. So tonight we have a chance to see each of our recipients featured in a short video that will remind us why it is that we were called here to pay tribute to them, that will remind us why it is we owe each of them thanks, and should remind each of us to ask the question, what is it that they can teach us? Our first recipient tonight is Matt Borland. He is an alum of Hazlitt Schools, as I said. You can see his biographical information in your program this evening, but at this time I will step aside and let us look into the life of a Hazlitt student from 1989, Matt Borland.
There, Matt Borland and Ryan Newman are famous for communicating well amongst each other.
This is going to be the rally to cap all rallies right here. Adios, boys. Ryan Newman wins it. All right, Ryan, don't save any fuel now.
Ryan Newman is going to victory lane the second time this year.
If the fuel holds up, he's going to get his third win of 2003. Fourth time this season. Checkered flag and fifth win of the season.
Ryan Newman is going to win tonight at Richmond.
Win number 7. Would you believe they've done it again?
Matt and the guys did an awesome job. I mean, our car was really good at the end of happy hour yesterday, and the conditions were a little bit different. Not huge different, but a little bit different.
You know, they used to say this isn't rocket science. Maybe it is.
It has become that way.
Purdue University engineering grad Ryan Newman, Rocket Man, is going to rocket to victory lane.
He was a rocket man all day long.
Hopefully it'll stay there for the rest of the day, and we've had good pit stops so far, and hopefully have a couple more good stops, keep them up front, and see where we can finish.
You guys are kind of working with the track maybe coming to you as the afternoon progresses.
I hope so. We'll have to see. We're going to have to make a little adjustment to it, and hopefully it works out, and we can get a little bit more speed.
All right, thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Dave, fifth win of the season.
Ryan Newman is going to win tonight at Richmond.
Win number 7. Would you believe they've done it again?
When he was in high school, he had an interest in cars. He's always tinkered with them, so to speak. He built or rebuilt an engine here in the Hazlitt schools in his shop class. He had a friend, a high school friend, whose father collected old cars, and they worked together on those cars. Don Miller told us one time at when we were down at one of the races in the garage, he was talking about how he felt about Matt. And he says, "You want to know why I hired Matt above the others we interviewed?" He says, "He was the only one that had changed his oil in his car, had done all kinds of things with cars. The others knew their information, but they'd never been on a car."
Row 10, you'll find Ryan Newman, last week's winner.
When he has time at home, he's dad all the way. He changes diapers, feeds them, bathes them, does cooking, does all that stuff that's part and parcel of being a dad and a husband. And so he's pretty involved of anything that he doesn't like, being on the road so much and not having time with his family. When I watch the races each weekend, I don't take phone calls during that time. It amazes me that this team, that they can be up for the beginning of this race and put their all into it, only to be maybe crashed into, pushed into the side of the racetrack, or something go wrong and they're dashed with all that effort put in. The next week they're right back again. And they put that behind them and they keep right on moving.
They can't make a mistake.
Another great run. Let's get you back out live now to the racetrack and join winning crew chief Matt Borland from the 12 team. And Matt, it's one thing to win one of these races. It's another thing to flat out run away with that thing, and that's exactly what you guys did today.
Yeah, we had a great run today. I mean, I can't say enough about the guys in the pits. I mean, we had, I think, 5 low 13-second stops. I got them out front every time, and just our engineering group back at the shop, Roy and all those guys, and the engine guys just did an awesome job with the motor this weekend, and of course Ryan just did an awesome job driving the car, so it was a good weekend for us.
Matt, thank you again. I was thinking really hard, like really hard. I could see the steam coming out of my ears, and I came up with a thought about you, and I wanted to tell everybody. And the best way to describe you is an equation. And I came up with the idea, and I know this isn't true because some of us know about engineering, but I came up with the equation E equals mc squared. Not everybody knows what that means, and honestly, I did forget. But in relationship to Matt Borland, the E stands for excellence, the M stands for Matt, and the C is what you call getting the chassis squared. And just want to say thanks. You've done a great job. Thank you, everybody at
Well, today's winning crew chief, thank you so much for coming by. Congratulations once again on a huge win.
Accepting the award tonight on his behalf is Matt's mother, Dr. Dolores Borland Hutt. Please come forward.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Matt, I'm sorry he's not able to be here. He regrets, I'm sure right this moment, he's underneath the car with the rest of the team, or over the car and in the car. Tomorrow the haulers move out sometime during Wednesdays, and they're on their way to Homestead, which is the last race of the season. And then finally, they'll start doing their strategizing, and Thursday he'll get a rest before flying out to Homestead. So it's a very busy schedule for them. Those of you that have time on Sunday, we could use all the rooting. We're in 7th place, and hopefully we may stay in the top 10 and maybe even move up from that. So thank you all. And I also want to say, you know, I have a thank you as a mom, and for the boy's dad, who is now deceased. We thank the Hazlet Public School System because all 3 of our sons graduated from Hazlet, and all 3 of them are doing well from the education that they received. And I think it's a good school system, and I'm glad we moved into Hazlet. So thank you again.
Thank you. I think we'll all leave prouder. I don't know always how many occasions we have to really celebrate our graduates, and we must have graduates all over the world doing incredible things, but this gives us an opportunity to really celebrate at least one annually and to remember why it is, especially those of you who get up every morning in the dark and go to school and teach all day, why it is you do what you do. It really is to launch another generation of just excellent citizens and creative people. So thank all of you who are here tonight as teachers. Our next recipient is a community member who many of you know in a variety of ways, not just for the kinds of things he's done professionally, but for the ways that you know him personally. And before we see his tribute tonight, I am compelled to mention something else, because someone, before this event this evening started, came to me and said, why is it that we're doing Gil White? And I said, well, look at his bio. I mean, there's all this. No, I didn't mean that he's not deserving. I'm wondering why we didn't do Gil White and Kathy Dewsbury White. Those of you who know Kathy know that she rivals Gil in her contributions to the Hazlet schools. She has spent countless hours as a fundraiser, as a consultant, as a helper to administration, to teachers, to coaches. She has spent time on the playground, time in the classroom, time in the boardroom. And those who really know Gil and Kathy would suggest that much of what he's learned about being a good citizen was inspired by his wife. So before we celebrate Gil this afternoon or this evening, I'd like to ask Kathy to stand so that we could recognize her. I've probably said all the kind things that Gil intended to say, but without further comment, let me now introduce the tribute to Gil White.
I first met Gil when he started developing in the Hazlet School District when I was on the Meridian Township Planning Commission. He was one of the more interesting developers in that he seemed to like the natural features. And I remember lots of developers were concerned about how much of their development land they were losing to wetlands, and Gil didn't seem to be bothered by that at all. He seemed to like saving trees and wetlands. And
first met him, and he was the chair of our public policy committee, and through his natural work there and his very diligent work there, even as a volunteer, he made the ascendancy into our presidency at the Michigan Association of Realtors. So I've known him largely through public policy, and then obviously a friendship developed outside of that. One can't know Gil for very long and not consider him a friend at some point.
Honesty and integrity, I think, is very important. My dad and my uncle were two individuals where their word was good, and you could do deals on a handshake, and we don't live in that type of a society anymore, it seems like, because we're so litigious. But it's very important for you to keep your word.
He's the kind of guy who believes in giving somebody a good product at a fair price. And that is true, as I said, both philosophically and monetarily. And I think that permeates just about everything Gil does. And the fact of the matter is, he's one of the least selfish people I've met and run across in the public policy arena.
Well, Gil will do what he says he's going to do. He's one of the few people yet where the handshake is the deal for him.
You can deal with somebody and their word and what it means in a handshake, and you know it's as good as gold. I mean, that's pretty rare today, actually.
Gil came back to East Lansing to learn the family business, which is residential real estate. His dad had died unexpectedly of a heart attack, and that's when we met, when he came home.
Sitting at the kitchen table with him, and I was a bit in my cups, if you will, and bemoaning the state of world affairs. There was the Vietnam War, civil rights, you know, a whole host of issues, and I was very frustrated with that and discouraged about how change could occur, how things could be made better. And he said, you know, son, some of us have the opportunity to work at the international level and make things better. Some of us have the opportunity at the national level. Some of us don't have those opportunities, but it doesn't mean we don't try to make things better in our own communities. And that's always stuck with me. That is probably the biggest lesson that I learned from my father, that you need to be engaged, you need to be involved, you need to work in whatever small way you can at helping to make your community better. And sometimes you get lucky and you're able to operate on a larger stage, you know, and I've had some wonderful opportunities.
Gil didn't think he was going to be a real estate developer, but you know, the thing that I think is worth noting is that we all have connecting threads in our life, and for Gil, it's social action, it's making things better. And so what he's done with real estate is he's focused on land use policy.
There's no better time to be with Gil than in a boat. It's a very relaxing, very determined Gil White that goes out in the river, and very relaxed, I should say. And he's very natural at what he does, and he enjoys it tremendously, and it's just a thrill to be around somebody who enjoys doing something as much as he does that. And it rubs off on you. I didn't really fish that much before meeting Gil, but now I'm a fairly avid fly fisherman myself, as are several legislators who might not have otherwise been involved in the sport.
Yeah, there are a lot of things you could say about Gil White, but Sirius is not one of them. He's one of, if not Michigan's classic characters, at least this area's big characters. He likes to fish. In fact, if you check his car at any time, I think you'll find that he has all his fishing gear in case there's a pond or a stream available when he's out working or looking around.
He's a guy you count on. I can say that. As we get older, you count him on one hand, and he's definitely in my lifeboat. So I appreciate him as a friend.
Of anyone I know, I think is the most philosophically advanced in understanding the ripple effect of dropping the proverbial pebble of goodwill into the water. The ripple effect that goes out from there, he has a real clear understanding of, and I think that's why anybody who knows him regards him so affectionately and is so appreciative to know him and to have him in the community. There's no question he's already had a profound effect on the way Michigan's going to look in the next 100 years, and I don't know a lot of people who can say that.
Gil White, you are a driving force and an inspiration. Please come forward.
Thank you. Who were those people in that? Where'd you find them? You know, having attended, I think, all of the events, these events, since they started, I'm humbled and appreciative to be included in such distinguished company. Again, I don't think I would be standing here before you without the support of my family and friends, in particular my wife, Kathy. You know, I've had lots of meetings, lots of evening stuff. We got 2 kids, and she's allowed me the flexibility to stay engaged, and without her support, I wouldn't be before you this evening. You know, I benefited in my life from having 2 wonderful role models, and many of you knew my Uncle Al White, who was just a marvelous person. I know many of you could tell stories about Al, and he would, memories would put a smile on your face. He was very engaged and very kind and giving man. And, but many of you people did not have the opportunity to know my father, George White. He died untimely at a young age, relatively young age of 56. And for as much as you liked Al, I guarantee you, you would have loved my father, George. He was the youngest of 4 boys, and he was just a delight. And so it is in honor of my father, George White, that I accept this award this evening. Thank you very much.
Very briefly, before we make our pit stop, a couple more introductions. You all met our new superintendent. Without his move, you wouldn't be able to meet our new high school principal. Mr. Bart Wajenki, please stand. Also from the high school, Lynn Bartley and Darren Ferguson here this evening, please. From Meridian High, Gregory Shook, here this evening. Yes, Mr. Shook. From the middle school, Valdi Galitas and Gail Hicks. Please stand. From Murphy, Diane Lindbert, here this evening. From Ralia, Judy Tigrini. Judy. And from Wilkshire, Bob Hewitt. And if we have any other teachers, faculty, staff from the schools, please stand. We'd like to give you a round of applause, too.
We have one final honoree this evening, one final driving force. For those of you who've had a chance to read your program and understand why each of our recipients tonight is worthy of the Inspiration Award, you might have been surprised, if you didn't know this, to learn that our final recipient has only been a member of our community for 14 years. Because somehow it seems like he was always a part of Hazlet and Hazlet schools, because he so exemplifies what it is that makes Hazlet schools special. As we watch his tribute tonight, I think you will be impressed, as we were, about all the ways that he's contributed to this place, both large and small. His attention to those big things like bond issues and construction, and those small things like the thank you note, and making sure he's at the destination when all the kids get off the bus to do whatever special game or program or concert they're in. Because Bob was always there. In the times that were spectacular in Hazlet schools and the times that were difficult. And for all of the ways that he inspires us to continue the tradition of excellence, our tribute tonight to former Superintendent Bob Regan.
education. Administrators, teachers, bus drivers, cooks, secretaries, custodians, and maintenance workers, substitute teachers, paraprofessionals, Board of Education, and our many, many school volunteers. You are all outstanding. Parents and graduates, please join me in saluting our Meridian School staff. They have made a difference in the lives of our students.
But the reason that Bob Regan is so successful is because he brings out the best in other people and he gives the very best of himself.
Bob is a good person, basically a good person, and he does good things for good people. He's done a great job for this district and this community. And this district is this community. That's basically what it is.
Brings out the best in people. He just knows how to do that. And I think it's just because he's so sincere and he's so warm and he is funny. You know, he doesn't show his funny side a lot, but he's a funny guy, and he was a joy to work with.
He is always there to listen and always in a positive way. But the other thing is his accountability as an administrator. There was never a time when he wasn't right there working alongside you, and that he wasn't right there growing and leading us to grow along with him.
Bob had the job of balancing many things. First of all, he heard me telling him to save, 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 but also on the other side of his mind, he's hearing all the needs of the district and wanting to spend the money that we have for the education of kids.
The best thing that someone asked, well, what makes Bob different is, I said, you know, if you have a great idea, no matter what it is, and we have the money to do it, he's willing to do it. And I think that separates him from a lot of school districts that try to do that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but Bob's consistent theme was, if we have the money and it's a great idea and you can justify it, let's go for it.
What I learned very quickly, being a leader, if you will, is that it's most important to treat those people around you very, very, very well. I've always tried to live by that.
Well, he always used to ask me, what was for lunch? I would be like, you know, no I don't. And I always used to get frustrated because he's a superintendent, he should know what the lunch is.
I had the opportunity to work with 4 different superintendents in my career, and Bob Regan is by far, and I can say this honestly, that he is by far one of the best people that I've ever worked for. And he is a person that truly cares about kids and always made his decisions based on what was best for the students here.
Well, one thing I really admired about Bob was his relationship he had with Pat. She'd come into the office and Bob would just beam, and it would change his total disposition. You know, it was so nice to see that in a marriage, and he was so fond of his grandchildren and his own children. It was just really nice to see that.
The most important thing Bob felt about being a superintendent was the safety of the children. I think that was his biggest. In fact, now with him retired from the school district, he says the biggest weight off his shoulders is the constant worry to make sure that the buses are safe and the children are safe. And
the thing that I appreciated the most about Bob as a high school principal and as an administrator in this district was the fact that he would let you do your job. But he was always there for you. If there was a mini crisis or there was even a hint of some problems coming down the road, you could count on Bob Regan to be part of that process to help you through it.
He was the leader of our school district, and he inspired people to do better. He inspired our students, and he was always working for them. So in my mind, he was an inspirational leader of our school district.
I don't think a lot of people know, but TV 25 was Bob Regan's idea, and he was the one who wanted a TV station here, and he also knew what it took to have a successful TV program as far as funding and staff goes. And all the successes that we've had and all the great things that Channel 25 has brought to our students really started with Bob's leadership, and it was Bob's idea from the start, and I can't thank him enough, and our students can't thank him enough. We have one of the best stations in the country thanks to Bob Regan.
Well, our goal was to create educational opportunities for kids. That's what we were here for, and I think we did a pretty good job. And we did that by creating a safe and orderly environment in our schools. I think we hired outstanding people to run the schools and to serve kids.
He's a person that really cares about individuals. He's a person that also spends time and gets to know individuals. And I think that ability to interact with people and to keep looking at the big picture and keeping everybody happy, so to speak, which is a very difficult thing.
One of our Hazlitt teachers told Cammie's friend, she said, got talking about knowing Cammie and Bob, and she said, "Your dad is the coolest guy." She said, "He walks his grandbabies down the street, he comes in our classrooms often, and he has a Harley." She just said, that just summed it up about Bob. She just thought he was the coolest.
Right away, I felt a real strong connection with Mr. Regan because we just seemed to really be on the same wavelength in terms of how we view education and how we support kids. So I thought to myself right there in that interview process, if I get hired here, it's going to be so comfortable. It's going to feel like home. And that's exactly what happened.
He had the vision to see the auditorium we needed, not just to build something build something that's going to last and that's going to work. It had to be good quality. He just wasn't going to throw a building up and say, here you go, make something do with it. Like all the facilities we have. They're all well thought out and well worked out. Spent a lot of time on that, making sure all that stuff was there. And it's going to last forever. It's going to be a long time before this is going to change much around here.
Thank you, Mr. Regan. Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thanks, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
That's great.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Thank you, Mr. Regan.
Bob, you are a driving force and an inspiration. Please come forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. You know, I was doing well before those doggone kids came on. This, like Gil said, is a very humbling evening. And I really want to thank the Foundation for Hazlitt Schools for this acknowledgement. And I would urge all of you in this room and throughout our Hazlitt community to continue to support the good work and the good deeds of the Foundation for Hazlitt Schools. They really have made a significant difference. Oh. I guess one of the treasures that I've had in my life is my association with athletics. Began with Little League Baseball, went through high school and through college. And one of the things that I learned from the many good teachers that I had and the good coaches that I had was that it seemed as though through their modeling, whenever things went wrong, they always wanted to take responsibility. That it was a coaching problem, it was a teaching problem. It was never the players. But when things went well, the coaches always wanted to give credit to the player, to the team, if you will. And I guess what I'd like to accomplish this evening is to acknowledge that you are the players and you are the team, and we really have done a heck of a job over the last 14 years. And I say that with some modesty, but it really has been a pretty good run. And because of all of you, I think the Hazlitt Schools has earned the reputation as being one of the real premier school districts in the state of Michigan. And if I may, I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce my family, who's here in the very front and center. And I'd like to begin with not leave the best to the last, but the best first. And that would be my best friend and my partner. She's been my partner since I was 12 years old. And she, during my career in education, has become pretty astute to the world of education. I think she understands it well. And she became a real confidant of mine. And when there were issues and problems, I would confide in her, and she would give me her wisdom and give me her suggestions. And I can tell you that it was generally the right decision. She's one that seemed to always keep me out of trouble, except for one night. When she left the party early. And I was left with my two Irish boys and a good Irish friend, and it turned out to be a long night. But other than that, she did a hell of a job. And so, Pat, would you come up here and be a part of this? Pat? Family tonight, Rocky, our oldest son, and Jody, Cammie, Joe, and Christy, and our 4 of our 5 grandchildren, Connor. He is the star tonight. Maggie, all these great Irish names, Annie, and Molly. Our son, our grandson Jack, is at home in Fort Wayne with Dr. Wheeler. He just couldn't get away, and Jack stayed home. I think it's great to have the kids up here because I think it should serve as a reminder that this is what we all are about. Not only the Foundation for Hazlitt Schools, but this is what public education's all about. It's about kids and doing the best we can for them. So let me thank the Board of Education that I had the privilege to work with, both past and present. They were introduced earlier. They're just outstanding people. And please, community, keep your eye on the ball because our Board of Education is going to be changing, and pay good attention to get quality people in these very, very important positions. Also, I want to pay tribute to our school administration, those people who I worked closely with during my 14 years. They are just rock solid individuals, and I just know how hard all of them work. And again, they work because of the kids. Our teachers in Hazlitt are absolutely outstanding. I've always believed that when we look at our resources, whether it be time that we put into a project or money we put into a project, whatever, we need to ask ourselves what we're doing, how does this impact teachers? And if it doesn't impact teachers, maybe we need to reevaluate what we're doing, because unless we're helping teachers in that teacher learning process, I think we're missing the boat. So we've got to support our teachers. Our teachers in Hazlet are outstanding. Our support staff, our bus drivers and our cooks, our substitute teachers, our custodians, our maintenance staff, and oh boy, I'm going to forget somebody. But certainly our school secretaries, Cheryl Stacy, my assistant. Where are you, Cheryl? Cheryl, thank you very much for 14 years. And boy, have I missed you these last 3 months. But let me just close by saying that, and first of all, let me also say, Brian Town, that thank you very much. What you put together. What you put together for Matt and Gil and myself will be lifelong treasures, and we just appreciate your good work. It's just outstanding what you've done in your short time here in Hazlet. So thank you, Brian. So let me just close by thanking all of you. It's been such a privilege to work on your behalf and represent you. And I guess what I've enjoyed most of all is working on behalf of the kids. And one of the things I failed to mention when I went through my list of thank yous is to thank our kids, because, you know, oftentimes they're overlooked. But my success really is because of the kids and their achievements and their performances. I just couldn't be more proud of the kids in Hazlet. They're absolutely outstanding. And so with that, thank you very, very much.
Hair Design family.
And Pat just said to thank her colleagues from Changes Hair Design. They're all here. That was a big surprise to me. Pardon me? All right. Will you keep it short?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not rehearsed.
I think that my grandpa's done a really good job. In past the years, I've been really sad since he quit.
No.
But he's done a great job, and I don't think anybody could replace that.
No. I'll tell you one guy can, and that's Mr. Duda. I think one of the great decisions that recently has been made by our Board of Education is the hiring of Mike Duda. I think he was an outstanding choice, and he has just my support, and I know you'll give him the same kind of support that you gave me. All right, thank you very much.
If we could have the three recipients come forward and State Representative Gretchen Whitmer come forward. We have one more presentation to make this evening. And then the three of you get to stay for some pictures.
Wherever you want to be.
One of the greatest things that I get to do in my job as state representative is to acknowledge people who are doing great things in the community. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to attend this event tonight and to pay tribute to three outstanding and inspirational people. And so thank you for this opportunity. I want to present each of them with a tribute signed by Governor Granholm, Senator Bernero, and me, your state representative. So congratulations to each of you. Godspeed.
Thank you.
And it will be time to go and get ready for school tomorrow. But There is something about the at the finish line that's a bit misleading because tomorrow there will be children waiting for the bus, and many of you will have kids in the back seat dropping them off, and there will be another day of school, another semester, another year. And that's what really the endowment fund of the Hazlitt Foundation is all about. In the video that we just saw of Bob, one of the things that was mentioned was that Bob intended to build things that lasted. And that's really what the Foundation for Hazlitt School is about. For all of the money this year that's been provided to many grants and to support the theater and to support all the other kinds of things, including TV 25, we're looking for the long haul. We're looking at the success that is demonstrated by students like Matt, at the leadership of people like Bob, of the support and the investment of people like Gil. And we're asking, what is it that we could do to make sure that 50 years from now, there is another group of people who know and love the Hazlitt Schools and who are celebrating all the ways in which the Hazlitt Schools have supported the success of this community. And so tonight, I would leave you with one thought. As we think about the people that we've honored and thanked tonight, what is it they can teach us, and what is it they call us to do? If you, at the end of this evening or the end of this year or sometime in the next year, find yourself thinking about what is it that I can do for Hazlitt Schools, I would encourage you to call and volunteer first. But in addition to the time that you give and the good wishes you send to the school, the thank you notes that you write to the teachers, I would also encourage you to think about whether or not you have a gift for the Hazlitt Schools through the foundation. The endowment fund is an investment. We are wanting to make sure that what we provide today gives the students of tomorrow the opportunities that our own children have known. I've launched 3 children through the Hazlitt Schools, and at least tonight, all of them are doing well. And if they're not, it's not the fault of Hazlitt Schools. But I've worked, as many of you have, to make sure that the next generation of kids had the same opportunities that mine have enjoyed. And so thank each of you for being here tonight. Thank each of you for stopping what you were doing in your busy lives and coming apart for a few minutes to honor, applaud, and pay tribute to 3 people who truly are an inspiration. Let's go home and think about what it is we can do to inspire and to make sure that there are other inspired students tomorrow. Thank you.
Jamie. Sterling Marlin continuing his nice run. Car really tight on exit. Sterling has 3 top 11 finishes in his last 5 Lowe's Motor Speedway races, doing very well this evening. Joe Nemechek still trying to recover from leaving a left rear lug nut off earlier. He said it's a little harder back here in this traffic than it was when we were up front. Car a little bit loose for Joe. Matt?
Jimmy Spencer having a very solid night. They last pitted on lap 225, took 4 tires, a wedge adjustment. The car, it's the best it has been all night, Jimmy says. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart, he's gone back and forth. He was horribly loose earlier in the race. Now he says the car is too tight off turn 4, not too bad off 2. He can still get to the bottom, but when he does, it's just too free, Bill.
Matt, the 17 car of Matt Kenseth running in the 17th position, would like to get his lap back. Disappointing run for these guys so far. They've had a lot of trouble here. Came in 7th in the chase for the Cup. They're going to need some help if they want to stay in that chase after tonight.
The good news for Matt is he's the only car 1 lap down.
So he will get the lucky dog if the caution comes out.
Right. If he's lucky enough for a caution to come out, he will get back on the lead lap and have a chance to get some spots by the finish. Points as they run. Kurt Busch having a great night. It's not just a good night anymore. It's a great night.
It's a fantastic night because he goes from losing the points lead to actually gaining.
And the rest of the top 10, Jeremy Mayfield having a terrible night.
And look at this, Mark Martin, the 6 car. Once again, the longer they get into the run, the faster he becomes versus the competition.
So Mark goes to 3rd place. Kurt Busch back to 4th. Still a great night, considering he was wrecked in the first corner of the race. Not bad. All right, we're looking toward that final pit stop now. Wally and Benny, you're on the radio with your crew chief. The track conditions have been changing like a moving target all night. You got that one crucial adjustment left, especially if you're these guys, to try and help you win the race. How does that process go?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to make the car better. The only problem is if you pit under green, you don't have a lot of time to make adjustments that you may want to make because you lose track position. So if it's green, maybe a tire, maybe some air pressure, maybe some wedge, but there's not a whole lot you can do.
Matt, what about the 9 car? What are they saying for Casey Kane?
BP still trying to improve on what is a near perfect race car. Tommy Baldwin telling Casey, think about your race car. We should pit sometime in the next 15 laps.
Kane last pitted at lap 211. So 271 to 281 will be the window there for Casey Kane. How about Ryan Newman, Dave?
Boy, almost exactly that, Alan. 270, their window opens. 280 is when they'd like to pit. There you go.
All right. And Ryan actually gaining a little ground on Casey Kane the last couple laps. Still a long way behind him, but he has chopped a little time off.
I tell you, some guy that wants to get in right there, 30 car, he wants to get in the pits bad. He is sideways off of turn 4 every lap.
So as soon as his window opens, he's in there. On pit road, huh, Dave?
Absolutely. He radioed into his crew. I can't repeat it. The car has really gone away.
Looks like he's going to get it.
Trouble, turn 2. Oh my goodness. Casey Kane, the race leader, has hit the wall.
Oh, my gosh. My gosh. And we got crashes off turn 4.
Sterling Marlin and Kyle Busch.
Yeah. Well,
the fastest car
doesn't always win the race.
Doesn't always win the race. Casey Kane has led 207 of 267 laps tonight. His car has crashed and stopped off of the turn 2 exit, and he has hit the wall hard.
A ton. Let's see if we can see what in the world might have happened to Casey Kane.
I think we got a pretty good idea. Boom, there it goes.
Yeah. Right front tire.
Right front tire.
Man, oh man. Matt.
BP, as cousin Cole earlier said, looked like something broke. Tommy asked him, tire or does something break? He says, tire.
What a heartbreak. Now, what happened off turn 4?
2 guys started fighting. Well, actually, one just spun. That was Kyle Busch that just spun. And
Sterling hit the apron. When he hit the apron, it just shot the car sideways.
Let's go on board with Sterling Marlin, Palisade car. And
see if he doesn't get hit by Kyle Busch here.
No. Oh, yeah. Now watch, he goes down here.
He might.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Tell you what. How about that, John? Spin it around, keep going.
Well, they knew he was here tonight.
Son, I feel badly for you. That's what's happened this year is criminal. Someone ought to be arrested.
Well, you know what, though? If you're going to go out, that's the way to go out.
Leading the race.
Stomping everybody. Yep.
Well, he went out right at the 400-mile mark, and he led 300 miles.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very, very strong effort.
Yeah, it should be a 400-mile race, right? At 267, he'd have been.
All right, now 66. It'll be 65 to go, and this changes the picture of the whole thing.
Boy, does it ever, Bill.
Jimmy Johnson's car is just too tight. They're going to try and loosen it up. They also worked with the 88 in front of him, trying to get him to pull up a little bit so Johnson wouldn't lose time getting out of his pit. Around to the left side on the 48, Johnson trying for the sweep here at the Lowe's Motor Speedway in 2004. Marty. Mark Martin, middle of your screen, just a touch tight, half round of wedge out of the left rear. They want to take a pound on the right front tire. Jack Roush said, don't do it. We've had tire problems, Matt.
Kurt Busch still tight in the 97 car. Jimmy Finnick shuffled the air pressures in the left front and the right rear, Dave.
Just a tick tight for Ryan Newman. Full of fuel, wedge adjustment off pit road.
Mark Martin.
How about that? And Michael Walter looked like he's going to come off third.
And I'll tell you, Mark Martin's crew got him there. That was a great pit stop from those guys.
Man, was it ever?
Ryan Newman losing a little ground in the pit stop. He came in as the leader after Kane crashed.
Kurt Busch goes out second. Michael Waltrip.
Michael, third spot.
Oh, man. And Newman just barely beats the 8.
And remember we talked about Matt Kenseth. There's your lucky dog back on the lead lap. 65 laps to go here in Charlotte.
NBC Tuesday, 8/7 Central. The first weight loss competition. 2 teams.
Paul!
2 diets.
Don't lie to me.
And every chance to fail. A contest where the biggest loser is the biggest winner.
I am here to be a role model for my family.
The Biggest Loser. NBC Tuesday, 8/7 Central.
Shaheen Chevrolet. You won't get it anywhere else. Fundamental, elemental. The price you pay is so essential. 'Cause when it comes to saving you money, we won't be undersold. We'll beat the others. Call Shaheen Chevrolet. You won't get it anywhere else.
George Bush's budget deficit will leave our children with debt for decades to come. The president's tax and economic plans have given us the largest budget deficit in American history. In just 3 years, America has gone from a surplus to a $2.7 trillion deficit. And it's our children and grandchildren who will have to pay the bills. America and our children can't afford 4 more years. The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
3 MCA contractors live here, work here, and buy here. Our contractors and their employees support local business and the community through charities like Habitat for Humanity, United Way, and Children's Miracle Network. 3 MCA contractors employ the best trained mechanical system technicians available. For your plumbing, heating, cooling, piping, and temperature control systems, call the best. A 3 MCA member, 517-485-7990.
We're 3 MCA. We're on the job for you.
2 women murdered last week are remembered tonight at 11.
Just past 400 miles of tonight's race, the action started turn 1, lap 1.
The 10 car could not get the car shifted. He started 4th. All the cars behind him jammed up. Kurt Busch, Nextel Cup point leader, had trouble. Jeff Gordon had trouble, involved in the crash.
Both have since come back onto the lead lap. Brian Vickers, watch this hit. It's big.
Watch him fly through the air. That was big.
Fortunately, he's okay. 12-minute red flag to repair the safer barrier, but the good news, Brian was just fine.
Jeff Gordon spins around, and Rusty Wallace, with nowhere to go, into the side of the 24, had to replace the radiator in the 2.
Rusty was running 5th at the time. Dale Jr., excuse me, coming through on Ryan Newman. And that's Matt Kenseth, one of your championship contenders. Lost the right front, bounced off the wall in turn 3, has just gotten back onto the lead lap on this caution. Story of the night has been Casey Kane in the 9 car, led 207 of 267 laps.
See the 29 car, Kevin Harvick loses an engine down in turn 1. There is oil on the racetrack. The 19 car gets in it. Around he goes. Also the 17 car, Kenseth, spins.
Mayfield with big damage. He is in the garage and finishing 33rd. Close call for Junior.
A near crash. But here's the story. Casey Kane, a right front tire, goes flat into turn 1. And now we have a toss-up for this race.
Mark Martin is the new race leader. The restart is going to be with 62 laps to go. Kurt Busch second, Michael Waltrip third, Ryan Newman fourth, Dale Earnhardt Jr. fifth. And I don't know if I could pick a car out of all of these. Remember we talked about earlier, if you took
Michael Waltrip goes into turn 1, and we
who's that
see
smoking?
Robbie Gordon. Looks like he's made contact with someone and knocked the fender on the tire.
Yep. Left front.
Yeah.
Big time.
He'll be coming to pit road.
That's if he doesn't go slamming into the wall first.
So just to finish that thought, we talked earlier about if you took Casey Kane out of the race, all these other cars have been so evenly matched. Who knows what's going to happen?
And guess what? He's out of the race. Yeah. Man, look at that thing smoke. Ryan Newman, the 12 car, is the 3rd place car.
Or he'll be lucky if
bring
that
that to
doesn't
pit
cut.
road, Robbie. Please bring that to pit road.
Your Kurt Busch, the 97 car, is closed in right on the back of Mark Martin.
And that's the race for the lead. Mark led earlier. Kurt has not, as far as collecting those 5 bonus points toward the championship for leading a lap. And if Kurt Busch can get out front and win this thing, what a
these
rally that
guys
would
are
be.
really scrambling right here.
Jimmy Johnson, the 48, tried to go 3 wide in turn 1, wisely backed up and went in 2 wide. There's a battle for what is that, 3rd, 4th, 5th?
Yes, sir. And remember those 2 words Bill said earlier about if we get another caution?
Jeff Gordon
running 6th.
Man, what an unbelievable job that they have done tonight, Bill.
Now I got 3 words for you.
Yes.
Tight on fuel.
I think about everybody's going to be tight on fuel.
When you said 62 to go, Alan, that might have taken some of the guys out of the mix unless they get a couple more laps of caution flag.
3rd place.
That's looks like smoke
on that
coming out
12 car.
Or is that just coming from the front of Robbie Gordon in front of him, maybe?
It might have been the tire hitting the fender when he goes down the corner, but there was a lot of smoke on the 12.
Now Dale Jr. racing Ryan Newman for 4th place.
Can't believe Robbie Gordon hasn't stopped and he hasn't blown out. He's still going.
Matt?
BP, his spotter, Mike Dillon, keeps telling Robbie it's really not that bad. It's starting to go away. Keep staying out there.
Okay.
That's what I said. Okay.
It's easy for a
For
spotter
the
to
race
say.
lead, Kurt Busch to the outside of Mark Martin in turn 4.
Man, oh, man.
These guys want that championship, don't they?
Boy, they do.
What a rally. 5 bonus points for the championship for Kurt Busch. How about Mark Martin, Marty?
And remember, it takes a little while for Mark's car to come in. Kurt Busch asked if he could have the lead, and Pat Tryson said, make sure he gives it right back to us. Mark's car is better on the longer run. He didn't want many changes on the last stop. They, too, are tight on fuel. Matt?
And I just spoke with Jimmy Finnick, Kurt's crew chief. He says we are tight, but we should be good to go on fuel. What a night this team has had, BP. They have really rebounded in this points chase.
I tell you what, we've had so many great stories tonight. Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, struggling through adversity to be back up battling for the lead.
Matt Kenseth, I mean, they've had to fight through some problems. Here's the give back. So obviously that was a wade through earlier for Mark Martin. And Kurt's going to send him back on by.
It's good to have a teammate in a situation like that. Get those
And
5
remember
points.
that, sorry, Wally, remember how the 17, his teammate helped out the 97 earlier in the race after he was involved in that wreck.
That's right.
Both driving, all 3 driving for Jack Roush. So 54 laps to go. The calculators are flying, buzzing along down on pit road, wearing out the batteries where the fuel mileage numbers are concerned.
See, at Kansas last week on a mile-and-a-half racetrack, some of these cars struggled at 62, 63 laps. And tonight, they were putting more fuel in these cars because of the cold weather.
That is true. It is colder, and they have to do that. But the only thing is about this place is you're off the gas a little bit more than you would be at Kansas. Marty?
Casey Kane's come from the Infield Care Center. At some point, you've got to wonder what you've done wrong to deserve all this misfortune, Casey.
Yeah, I really don't know. We had a great race car. Dodge dealers, UAW Dodge was fastest thing, best car I've ever drove in my life. And it just happens. It wasn't our day again. I don't necessarily know why this happens, but you know, we'll keep trying. We're getting closer and closer, and I thought tonight was going to be the night, and it just didn't happen.
Had you previously had right front tire problems?
Well, I broke last night and went in the wall the same way, but I don't know. I don't think it was a tire last night. I'm not sure if it was a tire tonight. I don't know what happened. It just, the front end fell down, and we had a bad vibration before that, and it was going to break anyways. I think it was pretty bad.
Once again, Casey Kane has the dominant car. Once again, he will not finish the race.
He led 310.5 of 400 miles.
I would say that's dominant.
Yeah. But he's not going to finish.
I tell you what, these 2 guys, don't look in your mirror because this 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, is coming quick.
And Ryan Newman just ran a pretty fast lap in 4th spot. He was the fastest car that lap. So I think they're going to have some company here in a minute.
Okay on gas, okay on gas.
There's the okay
Whose
on
radio
gas
was
for
that?
somebody.
Yeah. Mark Martin's team telling him he's fine on fuel.
Well, good. I'm glad this thing did not turn out to a fuel situation.
Napa Field summary. 8 different leaders tonight. The most important, Casey Kane, just told you the numbers on him, but most of the other guys that have led have been guys in the championship who've gotten those 5 bonus points at different times through the night. 10 cars out of the race. Again, most important, Casey Kane. How about Mark Martin? Marty?
You just heard Pat Tryson give Mark Martin the word. They are good on fuel, Alan. That does not include a green-white checkered finish, though.
Yeah.
I think half the field is probably in trouble if there's a green-white checkered finish.
Kurt Busch all of a sudden has tried a different line. He's moved up the racetrack because he was running in the same tracks Mark Martin was running in, was not gaining. So he's now moving around a little bit, trying to find some place on the racetrack he might be faster.
He also may be a little bit aero tight following Mark as well, and he's trying to look for that clean air.
Take you through how they got here to this point in the race. Mark Martin started 12th, did not lead till after a long while in this race, lap 216. Meanwhile, Kurt Busch took the green flag in 21st position, involved in a crash on lap 1, fell back to 38th place. He's rallied all the way up to 2nd. He has led a lap tonight for bonus points.
Jimmy Johnson, currently 3rd, has led 7 laps. At one point was 23rd. Bill?
And they have worked all night, Benny, to get the tight out of that race car. It looks like they may have done it. We'll have to see what happens at the end of the run. Jimmy talked about the car being tight on landing, and I assume that's because of all the bumps on this racetrack, especially in 3 and 4. Oh, as for fuel on the 48, crew chief Chad Canals kind of took his hands and put palms up to the sky like, we'll have to wait and see.
Here's another car that's fast right now.
Yep, 4th, pole sitter.
Ryan Newman led the opening 28 laps of the race before Casey Kane ever got out front.
He's been kind of back and forth today.
Yeah.
Been all over the top 10 a little bit. Dave?
Let's see, which is going forward, 4th or back? I guess 4th, huh? He is 4th now. Well, you said back and forth. That's what I was getting at.
Gotcha.
He's going forward. He's going to run these guys down because he was saving fuel. He radioed to his crew chief, Matt Borland. How are we on fuel? He said, give me a second. He radioed back. We are 1 lap to the good. And now I believe Ryan will move toward these guys. Guys, Marty?
Yeah, looks like must have fixed that 48 car because, well, now he goes to the high side. But a couple laps earlier, riding along with him, he was right on the bottom, and it's hard to do if your car's really tight.
Oh, you got a good run at Kurt there, though, huh? It's one of the great things about this racetrack. You can move around the speedway and find an area where your car will work better.
And he just found it.
Yes, he did, as he goes into the 2nd spot. So guess what? There may be a sweep in his future.
Jeff Gordon.
Postpipe Jr.
That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. What a job that Jeff Gordon has done. Robbie Loomis, that entire crew.
Those guys have worked on that car, and heck, we were ready to make that thing a show car.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were going. It's going to be in a Lowe's store next week somewhere.
And for 3rd place, Ryan Newman by Kurt Busch. As reported by Dave, the 12 car is going forward.
Yeah, Kurt may have picked up a little bit of a push there. The last few laps looked like he may have been struggling.
So Kurt falls back to the number 4 spot. Matt, what are they saying? Can they make it to the finish?
He's good to go to the finish, Alan. The problem that he has, the car just pushes too much when he gets behind somebody. He picks up an aero-tight condition. When he gets clean air, the car is pretty good.
Yeah, it looked like he was having a hard time staying on the bottom of the racetrack, Matt. So now he's in a little bit of clean air, but it's hard to pass cars when you're aero tight.
Got a little piece of a side skirt dragging or something on the right side of that car.
Yep.
Right in front of the right rear tire. I don't know if that's affected his handling any. See it there just flapping? It may even just be a piece of tape or something. But I I stand by my statement earlier. This is going to be a great night for Kurt if he can get a top 5 finish out of this.
I'll tell you, Bill.
Yeah, it's just about Matt and his car, which is really starting to come back a little bit. We're actually talking to Robbie Reiser right now about their fuel mileage and whether or not they can make it. They're questionable about whether they can get to the end, but the lap times are good. So this could be a team that looks back at the end of the season and go, it's not what we gained at Charlotte, it's what we did not lose.
Yeah, excellent point. So Matt Kenseth rallying back up to 13th place now. Remember, involved in 2 different incidents so far tonight. Came back from a lap down, damage to the car, and he may sneak out a top 10 at the end of the night from this thing yet. Mark Martin announced earlier this weekend that 2005 would be his last full season of Nextel Cup competition. He wants a championship trophy. In his case, his storied career does not have one of those at the Nextel Cup level yet.
Get into gear with Nextel. Every driver phone comes with built-in walkie-talkie, speakerphone, and add-on exclusive NASCAR features like fan scan to listen to drivers and pit crews. Buy one driver phone, get one free. Call 8777 Nextel to shop or find a Nextel store. Call 8777 Nextel now.
Judy has a difficult job called 3 Kids. She uses her Discover card to buy things like gas, household supplies, and pudding. Because Discover card pays her a cashback bonus award, so far she's earned $103. It's money she used to buy herself a little time off. Discover card. Discover card members accumulated almost $500 million in cashback bonus awards last year, showing that now, more than ever, it pays to Discover.
This guy needs a power makeover.
Dude, this should be illegal. Time to mow the lawn.
New Gillette M3 Power. Turn it on, and micropulses raise the hair for the closest shave ever.
Wow. Looks like our work's done here, guys.
M3 Power, the new power behind the Gillette Young Guns.
Ooh, look. Dear Prilosec OTC guys, 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn? How's that work? Signed, the frequent heartburn guy next to you.
Whoa. Here's how. It's the only OTC that directly shuts down lots of those acid-producing pumps in your stomach. That's why it's the only OTC that can work for 24 hours with 1 pill a day.
Awesome.
Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn.
Say what you will, but you gotta admit, the body is looking good. Just needs a little smoothing out here, a little work there, and it'll be smoking. Woo!
Yeah, the ladies are gonna love it.
You got that right.
Just go to Don's Paint and Body Shop. They'll do the rest for you.
Find a body shop on the NASCAR Performance Network. Go to NASCAR.com, click on Auto, and enter your zip code. And always be car care aware.
Hey, what time's yoga class?
1 o'clock. Teacher thinks I'm hot.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Fighting Irish of Notre Dame back on NBC Sports next Saturday. They beat the big defensive stand to beat Stanford last week, and then the victory over the Naval Academy earlier today. And now it's perennial rival Boston College coming to South Bend, presented by Bristol Myers Squibb. Notre Dame Boston College next Saturday, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific on NBC.
Mark, you got company.
Oh, here we go. Johnson for the lead, goes by Martin, put 48 in front.
33 laps to go. Jimmy Johnson taking the lead. Bill, they have worked on that car all night long.
They have, and some of that work comes after happy hour last night when Crew Chief Chad Knaus told Jimmy Johnson, well, we're good, but we're about 1/10 and a half off of some of the other guys, including the 9. Jimmy said, I think I can drive it and make that up during the race. So today, Chad Knaus put a setup in that car that would allow his driver down the stretch to drive it more aggressively. 48 to the front.
Jimmy Johnson looking for the season sweep here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Won the Coca-Cola 600 back Memorial Weekend. In fact, he's won the 600 the last 2 Memorial weekends. And his record here at this racetrack, his first race he ever ran here, finished 39th. Didn't have a good day. Since then, 7th, 6th, 1st, 3rd, 1st.
That's pretty good.
Like that? All right, down to the final laps. Who can make it? Who can't? What's the thinking down on pit road? We go through the field, starting with the leader in Bill Weber.
Well, as far as Jimmy Johnson is concerned, again, what crew chief Chad Knaus told me is he's not certain, but he guards his cards pretty closely. I believe that 48 should be able to make it. That would give him the sweep at Charlotte, Marty.
Bill, Mark Martin driving his favorite car. This car has done everything but win. Its best ever finished second at Dover. He would love to put it in victory lane tonight and try and stamp his way to New York and the Nextel Cup. Dave?
Ryan Newman still going forward. The car is good right now, according to the driver. Back to his crew. He'll try to make up ground on the 6th. Matt?
Dave, as much as Kansas was an important race for Dale Earnhardt Jr., this was an important race for the championship leader, Kurt Busch. He had never finished better than 11th here. They tested, had a decent weekend, dodged a few bullets, and Bill, they are running in the top 5.
Matt, it's going to be interesting to see if the 24 team brings this car out again this year. Had trouble with it here in May, finished 30th. Took it to Chicago, struggled all day, then roared forward to finish 4th. Jeff Gordon has come from nowhere to look at a top 5 finish tonight, Dave.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. restarted in the 6th position and has gone nowhere. Has not given much feedback to his crew, and now they think maybe the radio is not working, and that's why they haven't heard from him. So they don't know if they have a problem or not at this point. 15 of Michael Waltrip restarted 3rd and has gone backwards. I believe the car has gone away on the handling. Might be tight again. That's the problem they've been fighting all night long. Bill?
Dale Jarrett with 6 top 5 finishes and 13 top 10s, and down the stretch, he and his team are committed to strong runs. They've worked on this car all night. They are in the top 10, Marty.
Bill, here in May, Jamie McMurray finished 4th tonight. He is in the 9th position after starting dead last on the field. His car is too tight in traffic. Elliott Sadler in that 38 car behind McMurray for the 2nd time tonight. He came on the radio, said, guys, it's the worst it's been. Way too tight for the 4th place man in the championship. Dave?
When this car was here in May, it was driven by Johnny Sauter, and it was crashed. It did not finish the race. Jeff Burton's done a great job, restarted 12th, and has moved up 1 position since the last restart. Bill?
Here's another story you'll be reading about tomorrow. The headline tonight, Matt Kenseth all the way up to 12th. After a night on the track they would like to forget. Matt trying to save points and stay in the chase, Marty.
Bill, last week's winner at Kansas, Joe Nemechek in 13th. He said us tight, get us loose. When they tested here last Monday, he ran over 700 miles. It took him 12 hours to do it, but it certainly helped them this evening. Sterling Marlin continues his very solid run from 31st up to the 14th position. Car really tight on exit for Sterling, having a tough time getting it to turn off of the corners. Matt?
Tony Stewart was 173 points out of first. He needed to make his move tonight. He hasn't called it evil, but this car has reacted like evil. It has been horrendously loose and then back on the tight side. Meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer having a very solid run tonight. The car, though, loose on this set of tires. Now 4 car. He is not happy with them. Trying to hang on. His best finish this year, Alan, 17th at Dover.
I've been very impressed with the job Jimmy and this team have done tonight. About to go a lap down to leader Jimmy Johnson, but this is an underdog team, underfunded team. They've had their troubles this year, but boy, they've run well tonight.
Yeah, they've been very good all night long. They stayed on the lead lap right there.
Yep, 24
most
to
of the
go.
race, yeah.
But meanwhile, right behind the leader, Jimmy Johnson, we got a great battle for the 2nd position between Martin in 6, Ryan Newman in 12. And they're also getting closer to Jimmy Johnson.
They just have to wonder where the fuel mileage is at for some of these guys. I can't believe it's that close that they're racing this hard.
But I'm also concerned about the right front tire. Casey Kane had run 58 laps when he had a problem. The 19 and 7.
Trouble right in front of these drivers. Who's in it? Did Martin get a piece of it? It was
there goes
Spencer
Kurt
that
Busch
spun out.
sliding through the grass. Woo! Hang on, Kurt. Good job. That's hard to do.
Wow.
Driving through the grass at 160 170 miles per hour.
So how big a piece of that did Ryan Newman and Mark Martin get?
Oh, man.
Check out the pavement.
Big enough.
Big
enough is right.
22 laps to go, racing for second place.
Car flat.
And you could see Ryan Newman was right on Mark Martin's right rear. I bet you he took the air off the spoiler.
Damage to both front fenders. Looks like the left rear as well.
They got every corner but the left rear.
I guess the left rear isn't banged up, just the front.
All right, now, some of these other guys that don't have the crash damage. Do you pit here, take on fresh tires?
And Newman was just up on, that started in front of him. Oh, man, talk about that bad luck, DB. Look at Kurt Busch. That is hard to do. I mean, normally when you hit the grass, it's like hitting ice. He did a good job. Just kept the steering wheel straight, let the car slow down, and finally get to the pavement.
Here they come, Bill.
The 48 car of Jimmy Johnson on pit road. They put on right side tires. Now it is a 4-tire stop. They talked about doing fuel only, but a 4-tire stop for Johnson, Marty.
Right front and left front fender damage for Mark Martin, who clearly had a top 5 car tonight. He said the steering wheel is turned to the right. They'll have to make many stops, Matt.
Marty, 4-tire change for Kurt Busch. No adjustments. What a night he has had. What a weekend he's had. Dave.
Damage control for Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman, the left front fender was pulled out. They worked on the right side as well. 4 tires, no chassis changes on the 12. Marty.
Dave, very calmly, Mark Martin said, let's stay here. Let's fix the fenders now. They take all 4 tires. It is towed out in the left front for Mark Martin. He said, I can live with it till the end of this race, but obviously a lot of fender damage for the 16.
Got a new leader.
Nemechek take the gamble.
Took the gamble.
Took the gamble. Took 2.
So lots of work to be done to Mark Martin's car to get him back out on the track. Try and salvage something out of this night.
Let's see what might have happened between the 77 of Brendan Gaughan and the 4 of Jimmy Spencer.
Well, it looks like Brendan Gaughan just got out of the throttle, and Jimmy Spencer just ran in the back of me. Had no place to go.
That's right.
You think he could have been going to pit road?
Well, if he was going to miss it.
Yeah, he was, because
he was going way too fast.
He was past it. You know, in the 77 car, those guys told me that that yellow Jasper car has never finished a race.
Well,